What would you like? White or red? How many times have we asked this question? And yet, there is way more to the world of wine than white and red. It's a matter of style. Why don't we go find out together? Let's wine together. Ready to enter the world of the magical dessert wines? I am. These wine styles are disappearing from the world. People do not drink sweet wines anymore. Pity, because there is so much delicious stuff out there. How do you make sweet wines? You're gonna be using sugar. You cannot use sugar, man. It's forbidden by law. So, how else can we make sweet wines? We can make sweet wines in the vineyard or in the cellar. Follow me. In the vineyard, what you're gonna do, you might be wanting to wait a little longer before you harvest. How? Why? Perché? Because if you wait longer, the sugars are gonna be going higher and the acidity is gonna go down. So do not wait too long, but if you wait long enough, you're gonna have more sugars. And then you're gonna be saying, so what? If you have the sugars, the yeast, remember the fermentation, are gonna eat all the sugars, transforming it into wine, and the sugars are gone. Wrong. When you have too much sugar, yeast cannot actually transform them all into wine. And so when the fermentation goes on, there's gonna be some sugars always left at the end of the fermentation. As a result, clean, sweet wines. These are called the late harvest wines. Still in the vineyard, you can actually make sweet wines. How? Waiting really long. So if harvest takes place in September, you have to imagine that you can stretch it all the way up to February, when the super cold months are there, the end of January, the beginning of February. Only in the super cold regions, the berries are gonna be frozen. So water is frozen, but the sugar isn't. So when you're pressing those berries, all you're gonna be seeing coming through is sweet stuff. Ice wines, phenomenal dessert wines. There is a third way though, is through noble rot. Yes, you heard me, rot. Botrytis cinerea. In some very special spots of the world, this noble rot is gonna attack the vine, attack the berry, and so the water is gonna evaporate, and you're gonna be having sweeter berries, but also it's a more enzymatic complexity. Man, these wines are phenomenal. So now, let's move into the cellar. There's different ways to produce dessert wines in the cellar. Numero uno is vini passiti. How do you do that? Like you get the grapes, you put them on bamboo mats, and you let them dry for a few months. What happens is that the water once again evaporates, enzymatic reactions add complexity to the wine, but the most important thing is that there's going to be more sugar. It's actually so sweet and so sticky that it's difficult even to press it. A classical example of this? Well, of course, the Italian Vinsanto. What else can you do in the cellar? Do you remember when we were talking about fermentation? The sugar is here. So if you find a way to stop the fermentation halfway through, then you're gonna be having a liquid with lots of residual sugar in it. How do you stop fermentation? Easy. You can actually use alcohol, brandy. If you add up brandy during the fermentation, boom, you're gonna kill those poor yeasts, and then you'll be having a delicious sweet juice. Classic wines for this, the British invented most of this. Port, sherry, marsala. There is another way to stop the fermentation. What is it? Filtering. You use a filter to take the yeast away and once again leaving sugars in it. A classic example of this is the super delicious Moscato d'Asti. Now, are there ways to make sweet wines? Well, I think for today and our beautiful universe of dessert wines is enough. What you gotta do, you wanna follow us on the next episodes to learn more about wine styles. Did you learn anything new today? If you have any questions, just ask. And of course, for more tips, tricks, and love, follow us on our social media and our wine classes. And enjoy it like a true Italiano.